It is finally here. We are officially talking about week 1 of the Master Key system. Fam, I was kind of mad because, bro, I just recorded this video, but my video just started recording. I accidentally pressed the stop button. So I'm starting again. Anyway, those who don't know what this book is about, the Master Key system is basically a book to help me to utilize. It's a 6-week course, not 6 weeks, 6-month course, 24 weeks. Utilize my mind to my advantage to bring my desires, to turn my dreams into a reality, pretty much. You know, the mind is that's the main thing. It talks about how the mind. That's what we learned this week. The mind is the causal realm, and the external world. The world without the external world is the realm of effect. You can't change anything you try to change. Anything you want to change about. If I want to change my life, I can't change anything in this physical realm. No, I can't change anything in this physical realm, but I shouldn't try to change anything in the physical world without first changing my mind. Once I change my mind, anything I'm led to do will result in me changing my life, because I changed my mind first. So we read week 1, and we had an interesting task this week. It was a difficult. Why say difficult? I wouldn't say it was difficult. I wouldn't say it was difficult for me, at least. It wasn't difficult for me. But before I want to get to the task, I want to kind of touch on some of the things. We learned, I guess, what we talked about in this chapter. So part one tells upon what possession is based, explains the cause of all gain, explains the cause of loss as well as all other experiences in life. It explains how power is secured. It tells of a world within and how this world is governed. It explains how the solution of every problem in life may be found. It tells how practical men and women find the courage, power, hope, enthusiasm, and confidence by which we are given the intelligence and wisdom to make their dreams come true. It tells of how more efficiency is obtained and retained, and how our future may be placed under our own control instead of being at the mercy of any capricious or uncertain external power. It explains the cause of every condition, the reason for every experience, the origin of all power, and why all power is absolutely under our control. So that's the summary. That's the summary of week 1. I'm going to go over some points and develop on them and how I guess it resonated with me, you know. And I'm not going to talk about every point, but the ones I really found useful, or the ones that kind of hit deep. Let me start here. Mind is creative, and conditions, environments, and all experiences in life are the result of our habitual or predominant mental attitude. The attitude of mind is necessarily depends upon what we think. Therefore, the seeker of all power, all achievement, and all possession depends upon our own method of thinking. This is true because we must be before we can do. We can do only to the extent that we are, and we can Let me start that again. This is true because we must be before we can do. We can do only to the extent of that we are, and what we are depends upon what we think. We cannot express powers that we do not possess. The only way by which we may secure possession of power is to become conscious of power, and we can never become conscious of power until we learn that all power is from within. How this hit me. Not how this hit me. How I felt about what we just read, pretty much. And what I gathered from that. everyone who achieves some level of success, especially because um um that's why I bought this book, to become a successful musician, the greatest musician, to become the best musician to have ever lived, the best artist to have ever lived. Anyone in the field of music, anyone, even if it's not music but even sports, yeah, anyone who became great in whatever they did first saw themselves as that. You can be, what do you say? We must be before we can do. LeBron saw himself as who he is now. He saw himself as the King James before everyone started to call him King James or see him as King James, the LeBron we know now. You know what I'm trying to say? To be great in anything, you must see yourself as that before. The mind is the causal realm. Nothing on this external realm, nothing in this external world is a cause. It is all only an effect. Nothing is created in the external world. What is in the external world only unfolds from what was already in the mind. Anyone who invented, for example, anyone who, well, even this mic right here, whoever created this mic, it first existed in their mind before they made it. It didn't appear, you know what I'm trying to say? It didn't appear in the physical world first. Everything exists in the mind first. So if you want to change your life, if I want to change my life, if I want to change what I'm seeing, I shouldn't try to change anything within this external world. That's not. Otherwise, I'm trying to change an effect with an effect, and that doesn't make sense. To change an effect, I must change the cause, which is my mind, my subconscious. The world within. Let me read some more of it. The world within is governed by mind. When we discover this world, we shall find the solution for every problem, the cause for every effect. And since the world within is subject to all our controls, did I already read this? No. And since the world within is subject to our controls, all laws of power and possession are also within our control. So the world within, this is also what in the Bible Jesus talks about as the kingdom of heaven. When he says the kingdom of heaven is within you. The kingdom of heaven, there's no limit, you know. Yeah, that one hit for me, I can't lie. The world without is a reflection of the world within. What appears without is what has been found within. In the world within, we may be found infinite wisdom, infinite power, infinite supply of all that is necessary, waiting for unfoldment, development, and expression. If we recognize these potentialities in the world within, they will take form in the world without. The world without the external world is nothing but a reflection of our mind. That's what I need to get used to thinking that way. As we become conscious of the world, of the wisdom of the world within, we mentally take possession of this wisdom, and by mental possession, we come into actual possession of the power and wisdom necessary to bring it into manifestation, the essentials necessary for our most complete and harmonious development. For me to become the successful artist that I dream of becoming, I must become that in the world within. I must be aligned with that. I must embody that in the world within. In my mind, I must embody that truly. The more I embody that, the longer I embody that, it will eventually take place and materialize in the external world. I need to get that through my head. I need to really get that through my head and start to, because once I choose to embody that, naturally I will get the nudges I will get are going to be aligned with that desire. Essentially, it will just be God will be communicating with me how to get there. Once I align with that on the mental plane, in my mind. Once I align with, I'm this artist, I'm that, I'm this. Whatever you want to align with. Once you align with what you want to align with, whatever it is that you want, your desire, and you hold that for as long as possible. Not as long as possible, but you embody that for the most part. Eventually, it's gonna materialize. You're gonna become that. You're gonna possess whatever it is that you want and desire. We are related to the world without by the objective mind. The brain is the organ of this mind. The cerebrospinal. Don't want to keep reading it. Nah, this is kind of irrelevant. Not irrelevant, but yeah. We are related to the world without by the objective mind, which is the brain. The brain is what connects us to the external world. This is what's responsible for our senses, our 5 senses. That's how we're related to this. And we are related to the world within by the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind. That's how we connect to God. Everything that the subconscious is what controls my reality. The subconscious is what controls all reality. All of your reality, my reality. And the subconscious is made up of repeated thoughts that we've accepted as true, pretty much. So I'm thinking with this book we're gonna get into digging deep and trying to extract or remove all thoughts that don't benefit me or align with my desire. We're gonna get rid of that and replace them with new thoughts that do benefit me and do align with my desire. What is something else I want to talk about? All agree that there is one principle or consciousness pervading the entire universe, occupying all space, and being essentially the same in kind at every point of its presence. It is all powerful, all wisdom, and always present, and all things and all thoughts and things are within itself. It is all in all. There is but one consciousness in the earth able to think. And when it thinks, its thoughts become objective things to it. As this consciousness is omnipresent, it must be present within every individual, and each individual must be a manifestation of that omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent consciousness that is God. God is the only consciousness that exists, and He created all of us. Therefore, like in the Bible, it says, the Spirit of God is in all of us. Is within all of us, and we possess the characteristics of God. What else? I think I'm just going to get to talking about the task we have for this week. This is what I'm ready to talk about. Now the task. Let me read what it told us to do. What it told me to do. Now make the application. Select a room where you can be alone and undisturbed. Sit erect, comfortably, but do not lounge. Let your thoughts roam where they will, but be perfectly still from 15 minutes to half an hour. Continue this for 3 or 4 days or for a week until you secure full control of your physical being. Many will find this extremely difficult, others will conquer it with ease, but it is absolutely essential to secure complete control of the body before you are ready to progress. In part 2, you will receive instructions for the next step, but in the meantime, you must have mastered this one. Now this week, let me talk about this. My guy. At first, this was difficult. At first, it was. I was just sit 15 minutes. When I did do it, when I did do it, my guess, this is what I'm assuming it's for, right? That task. I think that task, like it says, it wants us to control our body, but or have full control of our body. But sometimes when I was sitting still, I didn't, I didn't know where it went. First of all, it didn't tell me to close my eyes. It just says sit still. So the best thing I think, if you want to do this, how I would advise this is sit in front of a white wall or something in an empty, in your own room where no one can disturb you, all of that. Cause fam, because sometimes your eyes will want to wander. So when you're even if your eyes do wander, if you're looking at just a blank wall, essentially, it doesn't have to be white, but a blank wall. There's nothing to really look at. So that was the method I used. But yeah, I think it's to. So I didn't really know what it meant by full control of your body. Like I was still blinking, I was still moving my eyes a little bit. You know what I'm trying to say? But I'll say for the most part, I was pretty still. For the most part, I was pretty still, and I impressed myself with it. I did impress myself. Sometimes I did kind of doze off a little bit, but I don't think I slept for more than a minute or 2 minutes. You know, I don't think I slept for more than a minute or 2 minutes whenever I did like doze off a little bit. But and yeah, I don't think it was even more than a minute. I think it was only like a few seconds where I'll doze off and then kind of wake back up. But for 15 minutes, I did it for 15 minutes first. Then I just went straight to 30 minutes. But the 30 minutes one, I should have been more gradual with that, I think, because the 30 minutes one, yeah, that one was a bit difficult. I remember, and because what I did, yeah, I hid the clock. I hid the clock away from me. I didn't want to look at the clock. I put a time on my phone, 15 minutes, or put 30 minutes. When I did the 30 minutes one, bro, I kept waiting. I was like, it must have been longer than 30 minutes. Surely it's been 30 minutes by now. But I'm back. Something just happened. That's why I think there was a little bit of like a pause, right? What was I saying? I was saying I think the reason for that task was to help us clear our thoughts a little bit, clear our mind a little bit. Um, and yeah, so I just interrupted a little bit, so it was a bit annoying. But that was why I think the goal was for that task. But yeah, that task was, the more I did it, it became easier. Except from like 30 minutes was a bit long. It was still easy to do. Like I was still able to sit still, and I do truly think in that aspect, I got control of my body. I was able to sit still. Like even when I was sometimes, that's the one thing I noticed is that when you do sit still, thoughts just come rushing into your head. Like it's like they come from it's like they rise up to the surface. It feels like so many thoughts. You just start thinking, oh, this. You just thinking a whole bunch of random thoughts, and it tells us not to judge any of the thoughts. Just let the thoughts roam. Just let them roam. Like be free. Let your thoughts just roam. That's what it instructs us. It instructs us to do. So yeah. Yes. That's the first week. That was the first task. I'm excited for the next task. And it's funny because when even another thing I found when I did that, when I was sitting still, when I was sitting still, sometimes your body would just want to itch. I didn't itch, bro. I sat still. Sit. It was a good task for me because I felt proud whenever I did it. I felt proud and I felt more relaxed. I don't think you're meant to fall asleep or doze off in the middle of while you're doing it, but sometimes it might happen if you try to do a task. It might happen a little bit, but I think you'll get better as you go on. But yeah, that's week one. I'm excited for week two. We're officially on week two. I just completed week one, so I'm officially on week two. Let's see what week two. Let me actually read. This is gonna be my first time reading what it's gonna be on week two. So I'm excited for what week two is about. Part 2 tells how and why the operations of the mind are carried on by two parallel modes of activity, the one conscious and the other subconscious. It explains why the thought processes of the subconscious are the theatre of the most important mental phenomena, why ease and perfection depend entirely upon the degree in which we cease to depend upon the consciousness. It explains the origin of all great, noble, brilliant thoughts and ideas, why we find ourselves sometimes endowed with tact, instinct, courage, sagacity, and inspiration. In fact, it tells of a vast mental storehouse in which 90% of our thought processes originate. It explains also how this vast mental storehouse may be placed under supervision and in the keeping of the conscious mind. It tells why those who are familiar with the laws governing this larger mental domain are enabled to accomplish, to achieve, to become writers, authors, artists, ministers, captains of industry, and why all others necessarily remain less than 10% efficient. That sounds very interesting, I can't lie. That sounds very interesting. That sounds very interesting. That sounds very interesting. Yeah, I don't know what to expect with that one actually. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to read that again because I don't think I understood fully what he was talking about. But I think I did have a vague understanding. But obviously, to get a better understanding, I'm gonna have to read it. But yeah, I'm excited. So that's week one. I'm going to get better with these as I go on. You know, I'm still fairly new to this YouTube thing, so please bear with me if you guys are watching. But yeah, that's week one. Is there anything else I want to talk about? Yeah, week one wasn't much. I think week one was for us to clear our mind. You know, because sitting down, just allowing our thoughts to just roam, and I think it was trying to help us clear our mind and get. I think if I could summarize what the task of week one was for, and plus it's only the beginning, so the tasks aren't going to be crazy. You know, we're still in the beginning stages. But week one, I think, was to help us gain control of our physical body, and two, to clear our mind, to start cleaning up our mind, so that all the thoughts can rise to the surface, and then, you know, our thoughts can rise to the surface and kind of go away, I guess. I don't know. But yes, that's week one done. Thank you guys for listening. I'm excited for week two. I'm very excited. Well, this is for me, so I shouldn't really be thinking too much of like everyone watching, but this is for me. I'm going to upload my daily, my digital daily journal next. So this is the second video I've recorded today. Now I'm going to record my third video, which is the digital journal. But yeah, that's week one of the mental key system. I'm excited for what this book has to offer. That's crazy. This is going to go into the next year, I think, into 2026. By God's grace, I will see a transformation by then in my life. And yeah, man. Yeah, week one done.